Hi, everyone. Welcome to Forte Connect. Today, we're going to talk about how technology can help manufacturing, logistics, and supply chain companies make smarter decisions. So today, we're joined by Tyler Ellison, founder and CEO at ChemDirect. Hi, Tyler. How's it going?
Very well. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for joining us. And of course, we have our usual panelists, CJ Montano, partner and managing director here at Forte Group. Hey, CJ.
How you doing, guys?
And Kirsten Lang, Senior Account Executive, Strategic Partnerships at Forte Group. Hi, Kirsten.
Nice to be back. Hi.
So Tyler, thanks again for joining us. We'll start with you. So you recently founded ChemDirect. What's it like kind of starting a business shortly before all this happened? And tell us a bit about the platform.
Sure, Steve. So first about the platform, ChemDirect was really started out of a need when I was CEO of a chemical manufacturing company called Noble Molecular. And it didn't take me long to be in the role to start experiencing the frustration of not being able to access the market directly. So we were relegated to having to go through these traditional distribution channels. A, that slowed the process down. B, it didn't give us insight and analytics into what the customer experience is like. And C, there's a lot of economic bleed that happens for both the customer and the manufacturer in that process. So it was really born out of a frustrating and big need as a manufacturer. So we started that last October, and you know, the question of timing, you know, knock on wood, but we're one of the rare businesses I think that's actually benefiting from this pandemic, in that we have a very short supply chain and we have a front row seat to all of the demand signals in the marketplace.
Yeah, I want to kind of ask about that. So obviously there are a lot of industries that are seeing supply chains under stress. How does ChemDirect kind of help with that, particularly with healthcare?
Yeah, so not just with healthcare, but really anything that goes through. So if you put yourself in the shoes of a manufacturer, you generally have 16 to 20 weeks before you get that demand signal back. You know, once it goes through the inventory backlog, once it goes through the distribution channel, we're able to give demand signals even before the purchase happens, just via traffic. So the example would be like with sanitation and disinfectants. Once we saw the demand spike, we could revert to the manufacturer partners right away, and they would alter their operations to be able to fulfill anticipated need, not just direct need. So we were in stock, the customer wins, the manufacturer wins, and just it's the nimbleness and agility that a digital access will bring.
So CJ, I'll bring you in. You have a background in supply chain and logistics with respect to technology. How do you see technology being able to improve supply chains, kind of like what Tyler was talking about?
Yeah, so thanks for bringing me in there. So Tyler and I have had the opportunity to work together in some previous organizations, and I think we share a common sort of ideology here, in that the more data, the more transparency you bring into any market, the more liquidity you're going to bring to that market. Particularly something like ChemDirect, what's interesting about it, especially from sort of the technology perspective, is the closer and closer you get to the raw materials in the supply chain, the less sort of, or the more fungible things become, and therefore the less important it becomes for a purchaser to determine where they get that from. Right, the isopropanol is the same whether it's here or there. I'm sure there's different purity formulas, things like that. But giving more access into the market for buyers who that's not necessarily their end product, they use that product. The more liquidity, the more transparency, the more lead signals you have there, the more you're going to service that market together. And so I think it's very interesting what Tyler's putting together here, because and maybe he'll talk about it a little bit, but I'm sure a lot of the clientele that he sees is very underserved, because most businesses go after the big play and the mass volumes, and that usually leaves some of the underdog, yearning for more of that supply, and that causes problems during times like this, where supply is much needed to run businesses, and those folks become mission critical. So his software is going to bring all of that transparency and liquidity back to a middle market for certain, but bringing all of that liquidity, transparency, and competitiveness to the market will also create a much better marketplace, more value for anybody who's in that marketplace. And so it's pretty exciting about what he's doing and how he's using technology to do it.
So Tyler, your business is located it's based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And as it seems, it looks like Wisconsin may be on the verge of at least a partial reopening. What are you doing to prepare, and what would you advise other technology leaders to do to prepare?
That's Kirsten, that's a great question. So, I don't know where I heard this, but I'm gonna probably both plagiarize and bastardize it at the same time. But I thought it was great. It was sort of, I think they said the 4 R's: regroup, reform, reimagine, and reinvent. And so I think if you think about that sequence, and we're about to regroup, we don't really have to reform. But I do think that's wise counsel when you think about, all right, when we take this exit ramp off of this pandemic highway, what is the world going to look like? And do you have to reimagine the model of which you're living under currently? And then it's about, an execution plan. So we're sort of following those 4 R's, although we've spent a lot of time in anticipation of this, and so I think we have a pretty good path forward.
CJ, many businesses are in the same position as Tyler's. What advice would you give those people right now as we slowly move towards reopening in many parts of the country? And what can people do now?
So I think there's a generic answer to that, and I think there's a more specific answer to Tyler and ChemDirect. So, generally speaking, through these, we've been talking a lot about, a lot of what Tyler says, the ability to reinvent yourself, the ability to, get yourself to a place where you provide a better quality product, take the time to, get the most valuable things that people are looking for out there. I think it's the general thought there is, before we return to massive amount of transactions and high demand in the market, is to get yourself prepared, quality, stability wise, things like that from a technology's perspective. Having been in the exchange industry for a long time and the marketplace industry, and sharing that background, and now seeing Tyler move, into that direction with ChemDirect, the thing that I would say is interesting for his business and businesses like his, which are highly transactional, is to focus on the performance. Having worked for an exchange, I can tell you that the most important thing to any product or marketplace or liquidity of that marketplace is the ability to have access. So if you do not have the ability to keep up with the trend, with the demand that comes in, you will lose your liquidity to other marketplaces. And so keeping your ability and stability in your own marketplace will drive more people towards that. And it sort of builds upon itself. The more you're able to get out of a marketplace, the more likely you are to use that marketplace. And because you use it more, it attracts sellers to that marketplace. Oh, there's more people buying in this marketplace, so I'm going to sell in this marketplace. And so it sort of builds upon itself. So specific to the industry of exchange and marketplace, I find it interesting that all of the wonderful modernization user experience you could put in the world doesn't even hold a card to actual liquidity and how well you can serve that raw supply chain in the buyer and seller market. I think that is hugely critical, and I think that Tyler could probably attest to that, seeing his demand shoot up over the last month or so.
Yes, I can absolutely attest to that. And another thing I would just sort of reinforce what CJ just said: liquidity is king. But I think right now through trauma, and I think the world is going through a level of trauma, your brand, good or bad, is accelerated. The experience is accelerated in either direction. So we see the demand signals earlier than everyone. But we're dealing with PPE and trying to strike that balance of, we're not going to profiteer. We really want to help against the fight of COVID. But I see so many other brands kind of ruining themselves, and people are going to remember how you engage as a brand the rest of their lives through a traumatic experience like this. So I guess that'd be the other caution: is good, bad, or indifferent, everything that's done in this pandemic trauma, people are going to remember.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Tyler, once things open up, you're planning on building an innovation center out of Green Bay. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and if someone's interested, maybe where they can go to find out more?
Certainly, they can contact us through our website at chemdirect.com. And you know, our lead investor is it's Microsoft and a unique fusion with the Green Bay Packers, and they both committed a lot of resources to the Innovation, the Technology Center that's literally located across the street from Lambeau Field. So we bring to bear the all of the assets that Microsoft can. And so we enjoy that, but we're trying to keep technology in the middle of the country and keep innovation going.
What kind of roles are you looking to hire? What kind of people are you sort of on the lookout for?
Data science is going to be big. So any data scientists certainly reach out. I appreciate you asking, Steve. But yeah, right now it'd be data science and technology development.
I cannot endorse the Green Bay Packer part, but the rest sounds awesome.
Is that a Jay Cutler poster behind you?
That is no Jay Cutler in my house. So we see you're in what looks to be a fairly sunny spot on your deck, perhaps. You're in Southwest Florida at the moment. We usually try to end with kind of a fun anecdote. So are you doing anything outside other than working outside?
Yeah, a fair amount of fishing, and it's interesting because I was swimming a lot, but the sea turtles come in. Normally, I'm not here this late in the year. I'm usually back up north where you guys are. But what I've learned is the big sharks follow the sea turtles, and so I have a neighbor that's one of the biggest onshore shark fishermen. He fishes caught a 14-foot tiger shark, like literally 300 yards from where I swim every day. I haven't swum there since he caught it, by the way. But it
sounds smart. Kirsten, doing anything outside?
I have gotten on the bird watching bandwagon, and we stuck in orange out on our balcony over the weekend, and now we have little Orioles coming to visit us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
CJ, how about you?
Well, outside of preparing for fantasy football, now that Aaron Rodgers has a backup quarterback there, you know how much us Chicagoans love to follow the Green Bay Pack. For as much as Chicagoans and Green Bay have that nice little competitive rift, we seem to follow each other. But no, I'm doing what most people are doing, taking long walks, trying to enjoy my time with my family, and strangely enough, getting a little bit into outdoor activities like gardening and getting into mulching the flower beds with my wife and stuff like that. So I always enjoy a little bit of dirty. That's a good way to get outside and do it.
Well, Tyler, thanks again for joining us. We were talking, of course, today how technology can help manufacturing, logistics, and supply chain. Tyler, you're right in the middle of that. So it's awesome what you're doing, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, Steve and Forte Group, appreciate you hosting, and thank you again.
Sure. So just wrapping up, if you found this video helpful, you liked it, consider liking it, subscribing it. You can find this video and more on our website, which is fortegroup.com. That's FORTEGRP.com. And we'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.